How are you doing?
We're ready when you.
That's on that way.
That's your chair from now on.
Okay. I bring call to order. Do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do. All members are present. We do have Commissioner Branch attending by Zoom.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's start with the public hearings. Start with A. Gio, would you mind reading that for us?
Sure. A is public hearing to obtain citizen views and comments regarding an application for a special use permit for applicant Huang Hong Chu. The applicant is requesting a special use permit for the purpose of establishing a coin-operated machine business. The property in question is located at 1906 West Highway 90. Record property owner is Charles Sanders.
Okay, thank you, Gio. Is there anyone here who would like to speak about on this?
Would you like to speak today? Sure. Okay, you can go up to the podium.
Good evening. Yeah, I just want to say that on the game rooms and the coin operated, that I think it's very therapeutic because sometimes, you know, I go there and it's really relaxing and I see everybody enjoying themselves and it's really clean and orderly and I see no problem. And I'm just asking for, you know, the games, those games there, it's just one game of one kind for machine. And there's some machines that have one machine with 10 games or different things, but these one are just one and they're just all different and light up. And I just want to ask for the approval. Thank you.
And your name's Lourdes Valenzuela, right?
Lourdes Valenzuela. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, then let's move on to B.
B is public hearing to obtain citizen views and comments regarding an application for a special use permit for applicant Chi Toy Vo. The applicant is requesting a special use permit for the purpose of establishing a coin-operated machine business. The property in question is located at 2000 East Highway 90. Record property owner is Vimal Patel.
Okay, thank you, Gio. And is there anyone here who's going to speak on that?
It's a different application. Would you like to speak on that one as well, or?
I
No.
mean, I still have the same views, I guess, right?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Can we go on to the next one, please?
Alrighty. Item C is public hearing to obtain citizen views and comments regarding a setback variance being requested by the applicant Michelle Foster at 2100 West Highway 90. The setback is requested to provide for a more efficient use of the land and to benefit the adjoining property owners and land users.
Okay. Thank you, Gio. And would you like to speak on that?
So currently it's 15 feet from Mrs. Tabola's back fence. So I'm doing storage buildings. And if I push them forward 15 feet, then I lose 15 feet. And I'm worried also like her privacy, people can park cars back there. They will be storage buildings. I've already spoken with her and she is like, she's fine with the whole situation, but she would rather them be 3 feet. That way there's no traffic, no trash, no parked cars. Because currently right now, what are we? C1A. And then right across the street is C2, which is 3 feet. So it's literally right across the street from the Big Bend storage buildings. So if you raise them up more towards our building, then you have 15 feet of like trash, parked cars, people, and she's got a fence. And she also agrees that it's more of a privacy if we can move them closer to her fence line and she won't have any, you know, a huge 15-foot space back there. And of course, 15 feet is a lot. I mean, it's just storage buildings and she is the only owner of that whole property that I'm doing on the back fence. So she is totally good with that. If we raise them, if we push them closer 15 feet up, they're kind of in our, you know, it takes away from our parking in the back and has a 15 feet of no use at all except for trash, tumbleweeds. People can park their cars there between her fence line and the back of the storage buildings. So just trying to get them closer to her fence line where it's more like a privacy fence, and there won't be any movement between her fence line and the storage buildings.
Okay,
Your name is
Well-
Michelle Foster.
Yes.
okay. Take anyone else. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, let's move on to the next item. Approval of board minutes. Ask the commissioners to please look over the meeting minutes for January 24th, February 28th, and March 7th. Please peruse them. If there's anything you'd like to add or change, please let me know. Any changes? And do I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes as is?
I'll make a motion that we accept, can we accept these all at once or do we have to have them one by one?
You can do it all at once.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept all these.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the meeting minutes from January 24th, February 28th, and March 7th as is. All agree, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. Let's move on now to discussion items. Discussion between commissioners and city staff regarding procedural items, questions, and or recent planning and zoning related items. I'll open this up. I can start on my left. Would you like to, is there anything you'd like to discuss?
Wasn't this supposed to go to city council after our special meeting? Or no?
This is for anything else you'd want, if there's any issues that you want to bring up?
Oh, not, it's not, we're not at number 6.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay, I'm
No.
sorry. No, I don't have anything.
Okay.
I have something, kind of. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm not there. I'll see you in April. So on this this has to do with some upcoming discussion items, but it's also just planning and zoning and ordinances in general. So if I need to wait for the next discussion item, I will. But my question is that we had a special meeting last month to, it was mid-month or on March 7th to the intent was to limit the number of gaming machines to 10. And that was presented to council at their meeting the following week. And it was tabled by council because Councilman Rodriguez thought that this shouldn't be under, these ordinances should not fall under planning and zoning, even though per the ordinance, it does fall under planning and zoning. So my thoughts are any coin operated machine ordinances that are coming up or approvals shouldn't, I mean, we should wait for council to decide if this should be a planning and zoning, if these should fall under planning and zoning, if they want to change the ordinance. Because if we're going to all meet, to make suggestions and, to present to council and they table it because they don't think we should be making these decisions. I mean, I would like to not have these on the agenda.
Okay, so I can speak to that. So
Yeah.
yes, you are correct that council does want to revisit. Specifically, Councilor Rodriguez had thought that maybe these shouldn't be going to you all, but it is that set up that way currently by ordinance. So until it changes, we'll need to continue adding this to the agenda. So council can definitely go in and change the ordinance and make it to where it goes straight to them or not required. But until that happens, I mean, we're gonna have to add them to the agenda because it's what the ordinance says.
Okay. And will they be making, I guess, well, so since I guess one of the last meetings, council decided to table it, is there a special meeting that council is going to have?
At this time, there's not anything scheduled, but I'm more than sure in the near future, they are going to discuss that. The last update that we had regarding the boards and commissions in general, the city attorney was going to be working on an ordinance, like a proposed ordinance, based on the feedback, and we haven't received that yet. So it's really just a matter of time. It's going to be workshopping all of the boards and commissions minutes, not, procedures, not just planning and zoning.
Right, okay. That was just, it was just, I was just curious.
All right.
That's fine. Thank you.
I'm good on this one right now.
Okay, sir.
So I do have if they're not taking our recommendations and this is sort of in flux with the city councils, should we be approving or even discussing any of these that are coming up right now?
So they did actually follow your recommendation to deny the permit located at the old press box across from Pizza Hut. They agreed with you all and they denied that permit. They didn't, of course, go with your recommendation to change the ordinance, but that one, I mean, there's been a lot of backstory there. So, I mean, they just didn't think it was the right time from what I remember, and didn't want to make changes until we look at revisiting the whole ordinance or all of the boards and commissions ordinances. So, I mean, my recommendation is to continue making your recommendations to city council, especially since that's how it's written by ordinance. I mean, we're going to continue to put it on the agenda. So, I mean, I recommend that you make that recommendation to them.
Okay, and so, yeah, 5 hours of driving to get here. So I guess my question would be if, and I had to go out of town for that special meeting that we had. If our recommendations are looking more towards limiting the number of machines per facility, or looking at whether or not it's a fire hazard issue, or I can't remember if that was what we were looking at. On these, should we be approving any of these at this point if we're looking at deciding whether or not we should be limiting the number of machines, or seeing if there's an issue with the square footage, et cetera, et cetera? Does that make sense?
I agree. I think we should wait and see what council is gonna do, since they're the ones who are questioning what we're supposed to be doing.
So if we're approving,
Or,
at this point, if we approve, let's say hypothetically, 20 machines, and then they come back in 2 months and say, no, we're going to limit that to 8.
So I think you're, focused on the limit. They did not agree with the recommendation, or they did not agree to change it at that time as far as limiting machines. But our ordinance right now states that they could have unlimited machines in their establishment, so there's no limit. So your recommendation wouldn't be on the machine limit. It would be either approving or denying this permit.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
and we can only have how many? 4?
For what?
For establishments total,
Establishments?
but then unlimited machines.
And so how many do we have right now?
2.
And these two are new.
And these 2.
So anybody that, if we were to approve, would come in with unlimited machines until whatever happens with council, correct?
Right. Or if we come up with any other additional ordinances ourselves to submit to the council, yes.
Okay,
So it's just like Gio said, under the ordinance that we have, we're,
they're gonna keep coming to us until
Yeah.
something else.
and then we are also free to continue to suggest ordinances to the city,
Mhm.
that since that's our job until the city
Changes
deems
it.
it otherwise,
Or not. Listen,
Okay. Anything else? All right. Thank you very much. So now let's move on to the action items. Let's start with A. Gio, would you mind reading that again?
Yes, absolutely. Approve a recommendation to city council regarding an application for a special use permit for applicant Fong Hung Tu. The applicant is requesting a special use permit for the purpose of establishing a coin-operated machine business. The property in question is located at 1906 West Highway 90. Record property owner is Carl Sanders.
Thank you. Now, in order to discuss this, I need to have a motion from one of the commissioners. That we can go ahead and discuss this. So I need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we discuss this, approving the recommendation to city council.
Okay. I have a
regarding
mo-
the special use permit.
Okay, I have a motion. Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. So now it's open for discussion. Now I'll start on my right, if you'd like to begin the discussion.
Yeah, my big hesitation is not limiting the number of machines that we have here. And I think that's something that we sort of need to strongly suggest to city council that they decide upon a limit. Because if we have unlimited machines, we could end up with, quite a few. We also don't. Is there a limit on the square footage? Have we decided that yet?
As
No.
far as
There's-
machines,
Right.
There's a fire inspection before they get a certificate of occupancy. We can,
I was just looking up to see how many this first one had. So that would be my issue with that one.
I think there's just too many questions for Stephen make a decision on this on our part. I mean, why would we vote on something that the city's not gonna back us up anyways on anything? If we don't do this, we don't do it.
well, I'd like to reiterate that the council did approve your recommendation to deny the last special use permit.
But they-
agreed with you all.
But did we not, but they denied the 20 machines. They didn't go through that one.
And I
So
think,
we're-
again, the main point was to allow them time to incorporate any changes with all of the changes in the ordinance.
Because one here is already applying for 25 machines, right off the bat.
Right. Which is allowed under our current.
Right. Well, I just don't like it, but go ahead. Your turn.
Okay,
I'd recommend reaching out to the council.
okay. Lucy?
I think I would feel more confident in making a decision if council would give us more direction. In the form of, like Eileen was saying, we're told to do something and we're still going, we're not getting anywhere. And
Well,
regardless of the machines, it's like our positions are up in the air or the board's up in the air.
that's not quite true. Like Gio said, the city agreed with us. They denied the application for the last gaming business. And the only question up in there is limit. I'm sure the city is trying to figure out, okay, what scale they're going to use to figure out how they're going to limit the games. So we're doing our job. That's what we've been asked to do, to be on this board. And it is within our purview. I think that we should move forward, ask questions. That's what our job is to do, And you can think about it's 50-50. We got, we've suggested 2 ordinances to them. They agreed with one. The other one, for whatever reason, they've tabled.
So, am I allowed to join it?
Sure, of course.
But the city denied our position on the one coin operated permit. He was trying to get a permit because of the record and the laws that were broken
Well,
related to the coin operated business, but.
So the city council agreed with us,
Right,
with our reasoning, and they agreed to deny it.
is that the reason that they denied it, was because of the public record of?
They agreed to deny it in part because, we had already
Right,
asked the questions and we already expressed to the city council what our objection was, and the
so
city council agreed.
everybody agreed on that one, but as
Yeah.
far as the limits go, I agree that we're just kind of going round and round with more coming in when we don't really know
Yes.
where it's going.
And it seems like since we deny one, just 2 more pop up.
Yeah, but again, you can look at it this way, our job is to make suggestions to the city council. So we could always come up with another ordinance regarding limiting number of games in an establishment. and then send that on to the council and have them look at it. Maybe what they need is just guidance. Maybe they need to be nudged. Maybe they thought our 10 was a little too limiting. I don't know. But I don't think that means we should forsake our responsibility. You know, and we are making impact since they did deny, they agreed with us on denying that application.
I think we need to really set a limit, because if it's unlimited, who's to say that a larger building won't be built, and then instead of 25, you might have 50 or 100.
Sure.
Right.
Well, then-
Yeah. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
But I think that Councilman Rodriguez said that she believes that this shouldn't be a function of the commission, period. But so I would propose that we have another workshop where we either, number one, meet with council and together we decide, or maybe they decide, okay, is this going to be part of the Planning and Zoning Commission or ordinance? And, you know, if we have some time to maybe re-workshop the ordinance, because I don't think anybody, I mean, I don't know, I can't speak for anybody, but I'm a little uncomfortable with the amount of machine. I'm a lot uncomfortable with the amount of machines. I mean, we know that we've had previous game rooms that have had problems with crime and gambling, illegal gambling. And, you know, it makes us hesitant, Amit. That's why we're hesitant.
No, I totally acknowledge that. I just was trying to make clear that at least it would seem to me like we were just giving up on it, and I don't want us to do that.
No,
But
yeah,
we are making an impact.
agree. Yeah. And I would like some time to fine tune some of it. I mean, there's other things that I would like to work on. I want this to stay under planning and zoning, but I also don't want additional work every time something, you know, goes to council that they table it. Yes, they did approve one recommendation, but then they also tabled two.
Mhm.
And so I think we need some time to re-workshop this ordinance before we vote on any more. We're going to end up having casinos is what's going on.
Excuse me, Gio, can I chime in?
Yes, that's fine.
It seems to be that all of you have got quite a question as to why I brought it up. Number one, I agree with Amit. I am not asking you to quit doing your job. By ordinance, that is your job, and we appreciate what you are doing. It's been brought to my attention that when you see the legal duties of P&Z, it's mostly on zoning. Do you
Right.
have those with you, Gio?
No.
Paperwork that we were giving, planning and zoning is just that, having to do with rezoning areas. I want to be sure that we are within the right thing, we're doing the right thing for P&Z to be making these. Just for the record, I am all for putting limits on these machines. I think that we need to, as far as I'm concerned, 4 is too many establishments to have, and unlimited machines is not something I'm looking for. I just want to be sure that we are within the limits of what this board needs to be doing. But for now, you all are within your means because there is an ordinance giving you the right to do that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your input.
Is it okay if Jessica?
Oh, I didn't see. Yes, please,
So,
Jessica.
I agree with Councilman Rodriguez as well, because even though you might feel like the numbers are coming back to you and it's not what you're wanting to see, on a zoning level, you can do a lot. Look at the building, for example, at 1906 West Highway 90, the parking is limited. We know that. We always have no boxing space. Those are zoning things. We already have limited for the school being so far away, having 4 establishments isn't a limit. So we have already put in a lot of limitations for zoning for a coin-operated business. It's the same with alcohol sales. I feel like they fit in the same category, in my opinion. They bring in a lot of fights and illegal things. And so, I mean, they go through the same process through planning and zoning. We are not going to put a bar right next to a school. And the same thing with our coin-operated businesses. So if we look at it as what you can control on a zoning level, then that's where I would focus until later on, whenever council agrees with a number limitation, if there is ever one that is agreed upon. I personally think that it shouldn't have a limit, because the fact that it's telling somebody that you can only have 10 chairs inside your movie theater is kind of like you're limiting their business. And so, or telling somebody they can only sell one type of shoe, that I think that that's limiting their business. But from a zoning perspective, if you have a building that can fit only so many machines by zone, by the way that a building is built, yeah, there is a possibility they're gonna have a big building, they're gonna put a lot of machines in it, but right now you can control some of those things. And then later on, if it is adopted to the ordinance that there is a limit, then in the ordinance, we've already spoken with the attorney that everybody would have to go on board. So,
Well, I actually spoken with him since. And
oh, that might not be the case. Okay, well, and we only have 4, so we only have 4 to control. So it's not an unlimited amount of establishments. It's only 4. So
That's super helpful. Thank you. That makes sense to me.
And, keep in mind that if, for whatever reason, these aren't approved, there's can be continual applications until we have that 4. And in the meantime, I would welcome you all to reach out to a council member, because maybe that's how, we'll get that conversation going again and maybe get a limit in place.
Thank you.
Okay. Any follow-up?
Well, I'm just wondering if we should just table these or vote on them.
If
We'll
you,
table it till we get more. We can table these, right? So I don't want to,
we can do whatever we
It'll
want.
If we
still go
didn't-
to city council.
right, but if we deny it, then
You can still make a recommendation to approve or deny, and if you do want to table it, that's fine, but it's still gonna go to city council regardless.
I think I'd like to make a motion to table this one.
And can we just get a vote on that first one first? The first motion was to discuss and approve the recommendations for special use permit. So if we can just get a vote on that as well.
Okay. You can vote however you wish.
Yes.
So, okay. So that's the close of discussion on A. And so now I'd like a vote. Those all in favor of approving this application, please indicate by saying aye. All opposed, say nay.
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 Nays have it. Thank you. Let's move on to B. Gio, would you mind reading it, please?
Sure, real quick, I just wanted to confirm, did y'all want to go ahead and recommend the denial, or do you want to make a motion?
No, if we all agree
No.
on that, that's fine.
Recommend a denial. That's what we voted on.
Okay, so item B is approve a recommendation to city council regarding an application for a special use permit for applicant Chi Toi Vo. The applicant is requesting a special use permit for the purpose of establishing a coin operated machine business. The property in question is located at 2000 East Highway 90. Record property owner is Vimal Patel.
Thank you, Gio. Once again, I'm going to ask for a motion before we can discuss it. I need a motion to approve this recommendation.
I motion to discuss.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second. It's open now to discussion.
Well, I'll start again. I think my stance remains the same. And if I remember correctly, is this the same one that came up a while back?
Yes, it's the same address.
And so my question was, at that time, is not this property adjacent to Sol Ross property?
Yes, I believe it is. I believe Sol Ross owns the property all the way until this one starts, pretty much. As far as the legality, I'm not too sure if it's from like the front door type of law, or if it's from just property owned by the establishment or the education institution. But to answer your question, yes, I believe that is all.
So this one was already denied, I mean, right?
You all recommended denial of the last permit, or
So-
applicant that wanted to establish a coin operated business.
So this is a different applicant,
It is.
same address, yeah.
Different.
Across the
And-
street.
Mhm. And I agree with you,
The
which,
other one.
well, on your point that you brought up last time too. It's unclear.
Yeah.
You know,
And then the other point about the parking, if this is at a hotel, if that hotel is full, you know, what are the limits of the parking specifically for the game room? And again, how many games was this one asking for?
I think this one's 15. Where are they putting this thing anyways, in the office or?
It's in the
I
packet.
think it was a place that used to be a restaurant.
15.
I think that's what it was,
Where it used to be a bar, right?
wasn't it?
The press
I mean,
box.
there was a
That's
a
right.
restaurant
Oh,
and
in
then right
that
next to it is
front
a bar.
part.
apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my stance remains the same. I think that there has to be a limit. And then again, looking at, since this is adjacent to Sol Ross properties,
Mhm.
because that is against the ordinance, I believe.
Could be. Now that is something we can have a workshop on, because that is within our purview. We can establish that. First to clarify it, and then however this board feels, maybe change it or accept it as is. But I agree that needs to be cleared.
I agree.
Mhm. Whether it's from the property or the door or whatever, what Gio was saying. That's what we need clarification, right?
Yeah. Do you have any comments on this?
No, I mean, I'm in agreement with Michael.
All right, so then that. we can make that a point for the workshop. Okay, if that's the end of discussion on this, then I will call for a vote. All those in favor of approving this recommendation to the city council, please indicate by saying aye. All opposed by saying nay.
Okay.
Nays have it.
To confirm that original motion was to discuss and approve, right?
Yeah. Let's move on to the last, C.
Item C is approve an application for a setback variance for the applicant Michelle Foster at 2100 West Highway 90. The setback is being requested to provide for more efficient use of the land and to benefit the adjoining owners and land.
Thank you. So in order to discuss it, I need a motion to accept this application. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the application.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll open it up for discussion, and this time I'll start on my left.
Well, does that mean you're adding? Sorry.
Well, me,
Okay, she's left. I think, I mean, I'm not familiar with the property in person, but from the photos, and if the neighbor was okay and it works better for both of the parties, I don't see anything unusual or nothing's standing out to me that would.
Have you been out there?
Yes, sir. On a zoning level, she can go through a rezoning and she would qualify because it wouldn't be spot zone. So C2 sits on the same boundary of the road. So if she was to rezone, she would get that the variance would be fine. So later on in the future, if we ever did change the zoning, it wouldn't be spot zoned illegally.
Okay.
So from my opinion, I don't think there's a problem with it.
Okay.
She could build up to her property line on a C2. So from a zoning perspective, either she can go through the variance process, which would be faster, or we could rezone it to a C2. And either one would work in her favor.
Okay. And you confirmed that everything's okay with the neighbor? Everybody's in agreement on this?
Just from the word, from what she said to me, I don't know if that's in your letter. Did you get a letter from her? No, she went fishing. Okay, I don't know, but.
We didn't receive any comments and we did send letters out to surrounding property owners.
Okay. And so from the absence of comments, we can assume that everybody's okay with it, and particularly your neighbor. Okay. All right. Lucy, do you have anything?
No, I'm fine. I mean, everything seems to be in order.
Yeah, there's no issues here. There's no reason to stop her from using her property for what she wants to do with it.
Okay. Sir?
Yeah, I don't see any issues. No.
Abby?
yeah, I think it's perfectly fine. And we're certain that there's not a utility easement there. or anything. And that's why there's a setback.
No.
Oh, she can't.
Oh, there's no utility easement. It's property boundary to property
Yeah.
boundary. There's no alley or easement there.
Okay,
Okay.
all right then. Any other questions or comments before we vote? Okay. Then I call for a vote. All those in favor to approve this application for a setback variance, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you.
So sad.
I'm just learning here.
Okay, now we'll move on to 7, board member comments. I'll start with Abby this time.
Oh, I believe it or not, I don't have any comments at this moment
Oh,
that I'm going to share. Fine.
Okay,
I really don't have anything right now. I'm gonna talk to my council, see where, get some more input on this. Some of
Okay.
this stuff is for sure.
Oh, actually, I do have a question. I'm sorry.
okay.
Any news on building official?
No,
No? Okay.
unfortunately, no. So we still have the contract, building official in place.
Okay. And so right now, he's the one that's approving all the permits and,
Yes,
okay, does he come in like once, how does he do it? Does he come into town once a month or is he doing it
He comes-
remotely? Or
He
week?
comes 2 to 3 times a week, depending
that's
on ISD and where they're at, because they're our #1 project right now with the ISD project. So depending on how many inspections they have and then all the inspections in between, and he does conduct some virtually if he's available. He works 9 to 5 with the city of Fort Stockton, so sometimes that's not an option.
Right. And then I have another question. So when you pull a permit, because this kind of goes with what council's talking about and all the illegal dumping and the issues that we're having that, or Alpine's having, that I think this isn't really a planning and zoning, and maybe more of a building services. But so much of that looks like it's construction debris that's like being illegally dumped. So when you pull a permit and if you're like new construction or a renovation, is there any type of, do you have to have a roll-off bin per project?
It's against the ordinance to dump construction debris in the dumpster. However, there's a lot of people that don't think that we have a building official right now and doing a lot of work without permits. So who's doing the dumping, we don't know. Also, whenever there's illegal dumping, we have a system in place where we conduct monthly. Right now it's only monthly, but right now I have a part-time code enforcement officer that's studying with us. And we go out monthly and check sites and then we report them to TDS, but we are canvassing right now. I don't know if you saw the update on the last building services, what we're doing for door hangers and things like that. And that's actually helped 75% of the illegal dumping in the areas that we found have cleaned up without calling TDS. So we are actively working with illegal dumping. Construction debris is supposed to go to the landfill, whether it's tied down on a pickup truck or in a roll-off. It depends on the size of the project. So, but we can't always catch them. A lot of times people are doing stuff at night or on the weekends because they know that the city's closed. So
Yeah, did y'all see the ones that were posted on over the weekend? It was like a bunch of, like, there's a toilet, like it's like somebody just didn't know their entire house and just set it on the street.
that's pretty normal around here.
I got a pool this weekend, big pool right by mine, so pretty. Just dumped it right by my dumpster.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
A lot of people don't know that that's actually illegal dumping. I came across a lot of people that put things next to the dumpster because they're trying to give it away for free. So they think that they're doing somebody a service by
Yes.
giving away products. And so it makes the town look really trashy. So for us to be able to canvass and explain to them what they're doing is illegal and they will get a fine. And we're also offering them the information that they can take it to the recycling center for free. So we're trying to clean up Alpine as much as possible, but we just have some people with some bad habits and we don't want new people moving into town developing those bad habits. So we're just trying our best to find the hot spots.
Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
And did I understand you correctly? You said that the door hangers have actually reduced illegal dumping by 75%,
Yeah, so we'll
Really?
canvass an area that there's illegal dumping,
right?
and then we give it a week, and then we go follow up to see how the illegal dump site looks. And 75% of the places that we put door hangers have cleaned up the mess next to the dumpster. So only 25% is called into TDS, which costs the city money.
Mhm.
So we try not to call TDS on illegal dumping because it just makes the cost of
More.
everything for us to go up,
Can
so.
I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So when you hang those flyers, does it say on there, if you don't take care of this, you will be fined? Do you give them a
It's
time?
not accusing anybody. We worded it to just more of a way to reach out to them saying that this area is being monitored and that the services that the city provides are at the recycling center now, that they can take bulky trash and tires and used oil and all that stuff and yard waste to the recycling center. And so I think a lot of people don't know that.
I didn't know
So
that.
you can pick it up and there's also a few people in the community that are actively just picking up other people's mess.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yes, there's a couple young people
All
that
the
are
time.
driving around picking up stuff just to clean it up, so.
I just drive by my dumpster, there's people out there throwing stuff, I'm like, that's really my dumpster, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to clean this up.
It's the ones that pay that, how much they pay, the ones that are out of city limits, but can get a ticket or some kind of, I don't know what they get for $38 a year or something, they told me, and they can dump anywhere. I mean, Toronto Creek is horrible.
I was
Horrible.
speaking with Adelina with Environmental Services, and her and I want to work together to get some type of posting with South County coming in, Sierra Lorana, Toronto Creek, and Sunny Glen. All those places, they come in from county and they dump right at those first few dumpsters.
Yeah,
And it overloads them.
yeah,
And
because
so-
I live right off Ted Street, and that's exactly what happens. They just don't, the easiest ones to get to. It's easy.
And if we
simple.
don't have a picture of their license plate, we can't do anything about it. So what are the chances of somebody out there?
I try to
taking
run
a
out,
picture of
I
your
try to
driver's
run out
license.
there and take pictures, and I almost kill myself half the time trying to do it.
So,
But sometimes I want to put a camera by it just to take pictures too. It's frustrating.
So Abby, were you suggesting that if someone pulls a permit,
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I was just curious because I know it's mostly, well, kind of, Michael, but what, in other projects, other cities that I've worked on, because I have a design and contracting business, and when we pull a permit, one of the requirements is every job site has to have a roll-off bin, rented roll-off bin. And I was just curious to know if Alpine had that policy. I assume they did when I did my renovation on the Vaquero house, and I had one the whole time. And then I noticed that I was one of the only ones in Alpine with the roll-off bin.
it depends on the size of the job.
Mhm. So there's a size requirement, like new construction.
Nobody's required to have a roll-off, but I mean, it'd be smart to have a roll-off on a large project. I mean, you can load it up in a couple pickup trucks and.
Oh,
take it.
yeah, we loaded ours up, multiple times, and it was I had a small house, but it was also a complete demo or gut, I would say, not demo, just,
Okay.
Sir.
I like the idea of us having another workshop focusing on ordinances that we can control, like parking and the size of the building and all that. Do we have a space on our calendar where we can have a workshop?
I can certainly get with council and see what we can work out. I'd have to talk to Megan and just maybe we could bring it up at a meeting to
Mhm.
kind of get that agreement as far as the date it might be concerned, et cetera. Last time it was available on Zoom as well.
Okay.
I know some of you all attended.
And do we just want to have a workshop in conjunction with the city council, or would we like to have one before that? So that we just hash it out among ourselves, what it is we want to accomplish when we talk to the city council.
I don't think it would matter that would matter on my part. Well, how we do it.
Abby, is
Well,
your
I
suggestion, what would you
It would
like?
be nice to know what we can do on some of this. stuff.
right. Well, I don't want us to spend hours of our time, workshopping an ordinance for council in 3 weeks to decide it goes to another commission. I'm fine doing, but I would like to maybe You know, I think maybe if each of us reach out to our representative and find out, you know, in our wards, you know, just, I don't know, I guess I'm kind of rambling, but I would like to workshop ordinances, lots of them. And I would also like to pick up where the last Planning and Zoning Commission left off, you know, before COVID, because there's a bunch of action items on there that just came to a screeching halt.
Yeah, they disappeared.
Right. So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I would like to spend some time doing this.
So why don't we schedule a workshop among ourselves, like for an hour,
Okay,
fixed time, and let's resurrect those ordinances that you were talking about. Because I'm not aware of them, so it would be nice that we all read them and discuss them, and any other issues we want to talk about.
and it would be good on a workshop if it's something like that, if we could do those on Zoom. And some, you know, I'm all over, and I know Michael is too.
Right.
And Wendy
Okay.
travels. I think we all kind of travel with our jobs, and, you know, we're in and out of Alpine.
I understand. Is that
Right.
something we can arrange?
Well, we always have the Zoom functionality. It's just, you know, to have the meetings, we need to have a quorum present.
Right.
So as long as there's a quorum, you know, the other
Okay.
members are welcome to attend on Zoom.
So when can we probably do it? What would work for us?
Mondays are typically pretty open for us, because there's not any other board meetings on Mondays.
And yeah, just so I understand, on the workshops, does there have to be a quorum, or is that just,
Well, I mean, it's a gray area. The city adheres to having that quorum requirement
Mhm.
physically present to avoid any issues. I mean, but technically, the whole having a quorum at an open meeting, it really just, if you don't have a quorum, it would call into question any decisions made at the meeting, et cetera.
Right,
So-
but this is not going to be an open meeting. It's just a workshop among ourselves.
Well, if y'all are meeting with the quorum at all period, you know, you're gonna have to post it, do a notice, and you're gonna have to have it open to the public.
well, then in that case, could we workshop it at our next meeting?
Yes,
I mean, that may be better and easier for everyone. I mean, I don't know. I feel like,
absolutely. It would be April 25th.
right.
Okay,
And
so
then
let's,
we have a little time.
let's do that. Let's use your suggestion. Our next meeting will be basically a workshop for us.
Right.
And, so if we can resurrect those ordinances that Abby was talking about and put that on the agenda.
And keep in mind, any of you all can reach out to me and add stuff to the agenda.
Okay.
Generally, you know, generally it'd be better if you reach out to the chair and then he will add it to the agenda.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So, so then we agreed April 25th,
Yes.
5:30, okay. And as Gio said, if there's anything else you'd like between now and then, just give me a call and I'll have it put on the agenda. Okay? All right. Anything else anyone wants to bring up before we adjourn? No? Okay, in that case, thank you all for coming. And
Thank
I hope
you.
you have safe travels back to your homes.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.
Later.